The 2026 FIFA World Cup final was 5 weeks ago today. Spain defeated Argentina in extra time at MetLife Stadium. Ferran Torres scored in the 106th minute. The trophy was lifted, confetti fell, and then it was over. And now major media outlets around the world are documenting something psychologists say happens after every World Cup, but rarely gets this much attention. Post-World Cup depression. CNN published about it. Yahoo Sports covered it. Goal.com ran features on it. This isn't a niche phenomenon. This is a widespread emotional crash affecting millions of fans who spent 39 straight days living and breathing the biggest sporting event on the planet. Let's break down what's actually happening here, why this tournament might be hitting different, and what it tells us about the unique emotional grip the World Cup has on global sports culture. First, let's establish the timeline. The 2026 World Cup kicked off June 11th and ran through July 19th. 48 teams, 104 matches, 16 venues across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. For over a month, if you were a soccer fan anywhere on Earth, your daily routine revolved around match schedules. You planned your mornings, your lunch breaks, your evenings around kickoff times. You coordinated watch parties. You debated tactics in group chats that were firing off messages every hour. Then Spain beat Argentina in that final, a tense, dramatic match that went to extra time after Argentina failed to register a single shot on target across 90 minutes. The first team in World Cup final history to not get a shot. Enzo Fernandez got sent off on a second yellow right before extra time began, leaving Argentina down a man for the final stretch. Torres found the breakthrough in the 106th minute. Spain dominated with 647 passes to Argentina's 337, and just like that, it was done. July 19th, the biggest tournament in soccer wrapped up, and fans went from a month-long festival of non-stop matches and storylines and collective global experience to nothing. Normal life, work, routine, silence. That's where the depression kicked in. Al Istiqlal newspaper, just 2 days after the final, quoted psychology researcher Gita Gayati on this exact phenomenon. Gayati said fans may suffer moderate to severe depression symptoms for about 1 month after the World Cup ends. We're talking clinical terminology here: emptiness, lethargy, withdrawal symptoms, loss of interest in daily activities. This isn't just casual sadness that your team lost or disappointment the fun is over. This is a documented psychological response to the sudden absence of something that became central to your emotional and social routine for an extended period, and the media picked up on it fast. Within days of the final, outlets were running features on fans struggling to adjust. The term post-World Cup depression started trending. Social media filled with people admitting that they felt aimless, that their group chats had gone silent, that they didn't know what to do with their mornings now that there were no matches to watch. Here's why this is fascinating from a sports psychology perspective. The World Cup is structurally different from almost every other major sporting event. It's not a weekend. It's not even a week. It's 39 days. That's long enough to build genuine habits around. You wake up, check the schedule, plan your day accordingly. You have the same group of friends you watch with. You have rituals, the same bar, the same couch, the same snacks. For over a month, this becomes your life, and it's global. If you're into the NBA Finals, you're mostly engaging with North American fans and a few international pockets. If you're into the Super Bowl, it's a single day, but the World Cup, every continent, every time zone, billions of people all locked into the same event at the same time. That collective experience creates a sense of shared identity and community that's nearly impossible to replicate in any other context. When that ends, the void is massive. Your daily structure is gone. Your social routines are gone. The thing that connected you to millions of strangers across the world just vanished overnight. Now add in the specifics of this tournament. The 2026 World Cup was historic. First time with 48 teams, first time across 3 host nations, first World Cup in North America since 1994. Spain's victory made them the first nation to hold both the men's and women's World Cup titles simultaneously, if I own. The Spanish women won in 2023, and now the men added their second men's title after 2010. The storylines were everywhere. The drama was relentless. And for American fans specifically, this was happening in their backyard. MetLife Stadium in New Jersey hosted the final. U.S. venues were packed for weeks. The World Cup was on your commute billboard, in your local sports bar, on your evening news. It wasn't just something happening overseas that you watched on TV. It was physically present in American cities in a way it hasn't been in over 3 decades. That proximity amplifies the emotional investment. When the tournament is in your time zone, in your country, at stadiums you could theoretically drive to, it feels more real, more immediate. And when it ends, the absence is sharper. So, what are fans actually experiencing right now, 5 weeks out from the final? Reports describe empty group chats that used to be constant during the tournament. Friends who spent every day debating lineups and tactics suddenly have nothing to talk about. The shared language that developed over 39 days, the inside jokes, the memes, the shorthand references to specific matches doesn't have anywhere to go anymore. There's also a loss of purpose. If you're the type of fan who spent hours analyzing match stats, following team news, tracking injury reports, you were intellectually engaged in a way that felt meaningful. That focus is gone now. Your brain was getting dopamine hits from following storylines and seeing results, and now that reward system has nothing to latch onto. And there's the emotional come down. The highs of the World Cup are intense. Dramatic goals, underdog runs, penalty shootouts, national pride on the line. For a month, you were riding that emotional roller coaster, then it stops, and normal life, by comparison, feels flat. Collegists say this kind of post-event depression is common after any major sustained experience. Think post-vacation blues or the letdown after a big project ends. But the World Cup is unique because it's both deeply personal and massively communal. You're not just mourning the end of your own experience, you're mourning the end of a global moment that everyone was part of together. The media coverage of this phenomenon is important because it validates what fans are feeling. For years, people would joke about being sad when the World Cup ended, but framing it as actual depression, as a real psychological process with documented symptoms, gives fans permission to take it seriously. It's not silly to feel down about a soccer tournament ending. It's a natural human response to the loss of routine, community, and emotional stimulation that defined your life for over a month. So where do fans go from here? Gayati's research suggested the symptoms last about a month. We're 5 weeks out now, so theoretically people should be starting to stabilize. But that timeline probably varies. Casual fans who watched a handful of matches might be fine. Diehards who planned vacations around the tournament, who traveled to multiple venues, who lived and breathed every match, they're probably still processing. And here's the kicker. The next World Cup is 4 years away. 2030, that's the cycle. Every 4 years, fans get this month-long global festival, and then it's gone until the next one. No other sport operates on that rhythm. The NFL season is annual. The NBA is annual. Even the Olympics, which are also every 4 years, are only 2 weeks and don't have the same singular focus. It's dozens of sports happening simultaneously, not one event the entire world is watching together. The World Cup's rarity is part of what makes it special, but it's also part of what makes the hangover so brutal. You can't just tune in next month. You can't catch the next tournament next season. It's over and it's not coming back for 4 years. That finality is what's driving the depression. It's not just the tournament ended. It's the tournament ended, and I have to wait until 2030 for this feeling to come back. For a channel like ours, covering how the world reacts to American sports and vice versa, this is a perfect case study in the cultural power of global sporting events. The World Cup creates emotional responses that transcend borders, languages, and local sports loyalties. American fans who maybe don't follow club soccer year-round were fully locked in for this tournament because it was here, in their country, on their screens in their cities. And now they're experiencing the same withdrawal that fans in Europe, Africa, Asia, and South America deal with every 4 years. It's a reminder that sports aren't just entertainment. They're emotional anchors. They're social infrastructure. And when a sporting event is big enough and sustained enough, its absence leaves a real measurable hole in people's lives. Post World Cup depression is real. The media is documenting it, psychologists are explaining it, and millions of fans worldwide are living it right now. 5 weeks after Ferran Torres scored that goal and Spain lifted the trophy, the hangover is real, and it's going to take a while to shake off.